Let's continue the London Cup 2020 with C50 Bambinos, and it's Harley Musk and Harper Das on the front row of the starting grid, with Maxi Abrahart and Henry Clark on the second row. Then Finley Hines and Austin Newstead from Jack Baker and Connor Winfield. Alfie Allen and Mason O'Connor rounding up the top 10 in front of Cian Sullivan and Kane Langley. Rhys David Richardson and Aurora Joel. Sophie Morris, Darren Dimitrov and Dylan Glasgow round out the 17-cart field. And it's standing start, of course, in C50 Bambinos. So the drivers are all in position. We wait for the start. Can Harley Musk hang on to the lead from the front? Away we go. Our onboard cameraman, this man is Henry Clark, as they charge away, and it's an absolute belter of a start from Max Abrahart, who has charged forward into the lead. As up the inside, Harley Musk hangs on to his position from Harper Das, who chops across to continue in third place. But Maxi Abrahart, what an absolute launch from the young man to get into the lead of the race. So Max Abrahart holds the advantage early doors from Harley Musk. Now the karts will not be as fast as their Rotax counterparts, but there's going to be plenty of overtakes because this circuit has suddenly become a heck of a lot wider for these Bambinos to go and play. Here they come through the pylon and into Complex Nouvelle. When is Harley Musk going to retaliate? It could be as early as the end of the first lap. He draws alongside, has to bail out of it again. But this could be a great race between Abrahart and Musk.
Yeah, we've seen some cracking races in the Bambino classes already in the last year or so. And here's another one down the inside is the 21 looking for the lead. And gets it.
Yeah, that'll do it. No problem at all. They almost run three wide there as Harper Das just about manages to sustain third again in front of Henry Clark. And then we've got Hines, who was the fastest in that first lap, actually. Newstead, Winfield, Baker, Allen, Langley, and Aurora Joel, who's made a good start. She's another great talent working her way through the British karting scene in Bambinos. So she could well end up in the top 10 today. Maxi Abrahart no longer the leader, as Harley Musk has taken it through the first corner into pylon, the left-hander, and then through Complex Nouvelle. But it is Abrahart giving chase now in second place behind Harley Musk.
Finley Hines, the fastest lap man on the track so far, but it is Musk. The names on the left, of course, will be updated at the end of each lap, so they're the positions at the end of the last lap, but that's changed now as Musk goes through the line in front.
Abrahart goes for the lead
loses
again.
it straight away down to third.
And Das gets there in a second, but they drift out wide. Musk was ready for it. Well balanced there from Harley Musk. He loses the lead but doesn't lose ground, gets back on the throttle on the inside and manages to get back into second position. Expect this kind of battle all the way to the checkered flag from Bambinos. I think that was Newstead trying to get his move on Hines as they squabble over fifth position. But certainly the top three going well. Connor Winfield now the fastest man on track as they battle into pylon. Is Musk going to have a chance here on the inside? It's a very bold lunge if he does, but he's not quite able to go for it this time. And it's out of the final turn and into the first corner, where we seem to have seen most of the good battles from C50 Bambino. Here comes the 57 of Finley Hines, trying to crack his way through on the inside. It could be three wide as Das is on the inside of Musk, while Musk is on the inside of Abrahart. He sweeps past them both. Harper Das takes the lead, and this time he cuts across to hold his line. Abrahart drops back in. Clark has to hesitate, and there goes Finley Hines on the inside for fourth. He's got a chance for third, but Abrahart shuts the door. Great racing.
Connor Winfield in seventh place is actually the fastest man on the track while these are battling out front. And up the inside is the 82. That is Henry Clark, our onboard cameraman. We've got the 57 Finley Hines alongside, though. Great action again from the 360 cameras.
It's a really good move there from Clark, who sized up the opportunity, knew that it was low risk in terms of the gap opening up for him, and manages to make it stick. And that move from Harper Das has given him a little bit of breathing space. So now Musk and Abrahart have got to work together if they want to go for the victory. Henry Clark is there in fourth place. Here comes Finley Hines on the inside line. They hold the throttle very deep into the early apex, and there's a little love tap from Henry Clark as he gets in behind Finley Hines, who moves up into P4, and Hines has already got his sights set on Harley Musk on the inside line. Now he's got the confidence up. Musk runs wide. Clark is going to try and have it round the outside, and he's got him on momentum. Beautiful bit of racecraft.
Absolutely amazing coverage from these 360 cameras. It really does put you right in the heart of the action, and you get to understand what these drivers are feeling, the sensations they have. And bear in mind, guys, these kids are only from 6 years of age.
That's what baffles me. I've got a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I am so glad none of them want to be racing drivers right now, because this is the world they would want to be in. Up the inside, 57, Finley Hines is going to lose ground to Clark. Gets through for third position, holds the inside line nicely, chops across, keeps the door firmly planted shut. And out in front, it is Harper Das still, but we've got this great battle for 11th further back as Aurora Joel is trying to hang on in front of Cian Sullivan. This is an interesting battle further back as well. We've got Glasgow, Richardson and Morris as they duel away, and there is Darren Dimitrov running in 16th position. It's Mason O'Connor that is going to be the first one to be lapped. Harper Das still in front of Aberhart. Hines going well in third from Clark, and then Harley Musk, Newstead, Winfield, Baker, Allen, Langley and Aurora Joel.
That's the man with the onboard camera picked out there, and Dash now he's got the lead, Jake. He's just clearing off. This is very unusual in this class. 1.3 was the lead at the end of the last lap. It looks like it might be slightly more than that now. Austin Newstead sets the fastest lap.
Indeed he does. It's all about confidence from Harper Das's point of view. He had a couple of laps where he got a move on the inside and ran wide and lost ground, but nailing that overtaking move, it's given him just that little bit of extra motivation, and he's charged away. Now he's confident. He's got himself a good bit of racecraft out there under his belt. He can just stretch away out front. He can take full advantage of this raw pace that he's got under his right foot. So Das in the lead, Aberhart second, Clark third, then it's Hines, Newstead and Musk as these four drivers battle away for second. Harley Musk, despite starting from pole position, he really seems to have lost momentum. He's there in sixth position, trying to keep himself ahead of Connor Winfield, who we know is already pretty quick. He was one of the fastest drivers in the early doors phase of the race, but Winfield's got pressure himself from Jack Baker. Here comes Harper Das into turn one, looking confident as ever.
You have to think that Harley Musk, based on his earlier performance, to get himself on the front row, has got some sort of issue here now, down in sixth place and losing ground.
It certainly doesn't look as clean as it was earlier in the weekend, doesn't it, from his point of view, whether he's got some kind of problem or if it's a slight crisis in confidence. It might even be, you never know, these moves. Oh, that's a big run wide from the 61 of Max Aberhart. Henry Clark takes full advantage, but Aberhart's not giving up. He wants the place back. Well recovered. Do you know what? That is such an easy mistake to make, but it's also an easy problem to develop into something more, and he's fought his way back in a second beautifully.
He ran wide out the outfield hairpin, but then had the inside line down to pylon and had enough about him to keep his foot in to retain the position, but he's going to lose it now.
Clark gets through, nicely done on the inside line, so Henry Clark back into second place. Aberhart's not done yet though, he's still got good momentum off of Stadium Bend. As they come through Reggie's elbow, he gets his line up the inside line, thinks better of it. What about Newstead? He's starting to close up with a new fastest lap. Hines goes wheel to wheel with Aberhart as they come off the turn. Clark is still firmly planted in second place as they come through the hairpin. Nicely handled here on the inside. Hines is having to hold off Newstead. And on the inside line, Austin Newstead is going to break into P4. Lovely bit of racing there as he continues up in his charge forward. But this is a great little battle further back in there as well. We've still got the three drivers tussling. Dylan Glasgow, Sophie Morris and Rhys David Richardson as they duel over 13th. And these guys are going to be charging after them sooner rather than later. Newstead with a new fastest lap. Clark trying to squeeze Aberhart out and give him a little bit of a, well, not a forceful nudge, but certainly trying to psych him out of the move on the inside. Aberhart is not going to be intimidated. He makes the move on the inside. Clark is now going to have to try and make a dummy switch on the inside of the outfield hairpin, and he's nailed it. But then still Aberhart is to the inside line of the hairpin. Clark is going to need the switchback move. Again. Look at it. Absolutely perfect on the inside. Aberhart chops across just in time. Lovely.
Fantastic racing from these Bambino cadets. This is all helping Harper Das out front, by the way, because these two battling is just allowing him to clear off 2.5 seconds is his lead now.
It's perfect from Harper Das's point of view, but these guys are still learning on the job as Aberhart sweeps right across on Henry Clark. You're not getting a move on the inside.
Henry Clark didn't like that there. He put his hand in the air to say, what you doing?
Well, if his cart is already there to the inside and Aberhart is basically running him out of road, that's a big intimidation from Max Aberhart. Henry Clark doing his best to get back on the inside for second place. Newstead has got problems of his own. Finley Hines is really starting to intimidate him as they come up to the infield hairpin, then up to the outfield hairpin. There's still a good duel further back as Jack Baker is having a nice quest with Alfie Allen. Here comes Max Aberhart. Side by side with Henry Clark. You shall not pass. Okay. Second position again.
He's got the inside line, isn't he? Going down into pylon. He's always going to hold on to that there.
Now Darren Dimitrov is the man they're going to try and lap. He doesn't cause too many issues for the second and third place men as Harper Das is already on the back of Dylan Glasgow to put a lap on him. Here's the move from Clark, though. He's got good momentum on the inside. Abrahart was too busy focusing on the back marker. He left the door open for Henry Clark, and he comes through on the inside to second place. But as they're now in traffic, this is where it's going to become very important to concentrate, because you could lose 2, maybe even 3 places if you time it wrong. Harper Das just bides his time. That's very sensible. He just hangs in behind Rhys David Richardson. He's got time to play with here. Yeah. He doesn't need to banzai on the inside if he doesn't have to.
Plenty of time to play with 3.9 seconds. However, he may not necessarily know that. That's a nice move up the inside. That's one back marker out the way. And he'll do the other one down the straight, I think, across the start-finish line.
Next up for him is going to be Sophie Morris, and then it will be Aurora Joel. Oh, Henry Clark getting himself a nice run here on Dylan Glasgow as he storms up the inside. That should help him hold on to second place in front of Max Abrahart. But there's your leader, Harper Das, who is 2 seconds just about clear of Henry Clark.
What did he lose, Jake? He's lost 2 seconds on that lap. Just shows you. He was 3.9 clear, I think. Now he's 1.9 clear.
Yeah, he gets ahead of Aurora Joel, no problem, but you've still got to time it right. You can't just charge up the inside and hope it's going to work. You've got to time it right. On the inside of Rhys David Richardson, no problem for Henry Clark. Next up is going to be Sophie Morris. But you've just got to be a tiny bit hesitant. You've got to just be cautious as you come through the lap traffic. It's not common to lap karts very often in karting, but in Bambinos, obviously, you've got such an interesting disparity between the front and the back that you've really got to think carefully. You've got to be calculated in how you get through the lap traffic. And it's something that we see in mini bikes, we see it in karting, you see it in motocross. These kids are obviously learning at different stages of their development moving forward. So you have to be very alert and very attentive to when back markers are going to come into play. This is Aurora Joel, and Henry Clark gets through no problem.
Especially on a track like this, which is quite tight and twisting. It's only generally...
Abrahart's got his chance!
Side by side, but this time coming down into the outfield hairpin. It's Henry Clark with the inside line, so he should hold on.
But it all depends on how he gets the kart through the hairpin. But yes, you just caught a glimpse of it. He does manage to protect that inside line. Abrahart's still there, though. Back to the inside, and he grabs second place again. 2 fabulous little races here in Max Abrahart and Henry Clark, and they are giving as good as they've got.
This is great entertainment for those of you watching. Let's see what the lead is now. Put it back up to 3.2, and now it's going to go to 3.6.
Fabulous.
So,
absolutely brilliant.
Harper Das has got all the pace he needs, pace to burn, in fact, for this one.
Time runs down to 0, so this is the penultimate lap. They'll get one more at the end of this one. There's Harper Das running a great race up to the infield hairpin, and Abrahart knows that he can't catch him, so it's time to put the brakes on and hold that kart on the racing line. Second place needs to be his with a solid bit of racing, and the racecraft is going to be hard to nail to the mast. He runs wide, but he's still got the inside line for Pylon, and that is where he's been able to make it work so often in this race. So he holds the inside line and protects it valiantly. So Harper Das comes through the final turn. He will start the final lap here at Rye House, and the London Cup in C50 Bambino is just a lap away for Harper Das. Here we go again, this battle for second place. Abrahart just holding and protecting the inside line from Henry Clark, but Clark has a good chance around the outside. He commits to the inside, but there's not enough momentum. Abrahart drifts a little bit wide. Is there a chance for Clark to come through as they come off of Reggie's elbow? Abrahart still hanging on to it. Newsted is there with them in 4th position. A little way back, Finley Hines, not able to get through the traffic in quite the same momentum as the 3 karts in front then. But it's still a very tight battle. Here we go again. Abrahart runs deep. Clark gets alongside. Abrahart is again able to maximise the inside line for Pylon to hold on to that second place. Clark is going to need something special to get through into second place now. He cuts back for the inside, hoping for a good sweep out of the final turn. But up front, Harper Das is going to take the victory. He wins the London Cup 2020 in C50 Bambino, and Abrahart just hangs on in front of Henry Clark. Nicely sorted out between them all. Even though a 5th position finish for Finley Hines, he's still euphoric about it. A top 5 finish at this level is a very solid effort and a great return for the racecraft here at the London Cup. Some great performances and some great drives. Harper Das takes it from Max Abrahart and Henry Clark. Valiant podium. Austin Newston in 4th from Finley Hines. Jack Baker in a solid 6th place. He worked his way past Connor Winfield. Harley Musk recovers to 8th. And then it's Alfie Allen and Cian Sullivan who round out the top 10. Brilliant.
Well, after the race, we caught up with the race winner and asked him who he wanted to thank.
My dad and Granddad, Daryl and my mum.
Harper does there, remembering the most important people, particularly Grandad Darrell, who quite clearly is paying all the bills. Join us in part 5 for more from the London Cup.